Okay, Prabhu, you can now start the program.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Wednesday Krishna Katha in ISKCON of Silicon Valley. So today I was thinking which topic to choose. So I thought of speaking about a little Varnasrama system based on Bhagavad Gita. So we'll do some Mangalasan prayers first, and then we'll chant a little bit for Hare Krishna Mantra, and then we'll discuss. Thank you everyone for joining. Let me share my screen.
Prabhu, I have made you the host, okay?
Okay.
And the program is going on. So I will now leave, okay? I will leave, stay in 2 minutes, and then I will leave.
Okay, thank you. We will do first Jai Radha Madhava, then we'll go for Mangalachan prayers. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivara Hari, Jaya Girivara Hari, Jaya Girivara Hari, Jaya Girivara Hari, Yashodanandana Vajjana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vajjana Ranjana, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Girivara Hari, Jaya Girivara Hari, Yashodanandana Vajjana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vajjana Ranjana, Yamunatira Vanachari, Yamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Hari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhumohan Radha Madhumohan Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Sina Gauranitai Gauranitai Sina Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Guru Hari Bol Hari Bol. We'll do Mangalasan prayers now. ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुमिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायां ददाति स पदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखावितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी Rishabhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripasindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So let's see, we will go through some verses in Bhagavad Gita which are related to Varnashram system. So we'll start with verse number 40, 18.40. So let me check. Okay. So Tilokini, can you confirm if you can see my screen? Or Anil Prabhu, I see. Can you please confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes,
No, Prabhu, I can't see this. Yeah, now I can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. So 18th chapter is called summary chapter of the whole Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1 to chapter 17. So here Krishna is giving a summary to Arjuna of whatever he discussed with him, his teachings actually. So we see that summarization is very important to retain the knowledge and to again emphasize specific aspect of anything, of any learning. So Krishna is doing that. We can see it in chapter. He's summarizing everything for Arjuna. He's focusing on the key verses, and then he's again fortifying his message and encouraging Arjuna to fight for him the Kurukshetra battle. So so actually text from text 40, actually Krishna is giving some indication we can see for then purification which can happen through following the Varnashram system and offering all the activities we do in Varnashram system to him, the Supreme Lord. So let's read text 40. Natat asti prithivyam va dividuveshu va punaha satpam prakriti jvaimuktam yat ebhishvatribhirgunai. Translation: there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is free from these three modes born of material nature. Prabhupada, the Lord here summarizes the total influence of the three modes of material nature all over the universe. So we can see here that, actually no one either here or, among the demigods and the higher planetary systems are free from these three modes. And what are these three modes? Sattva, Raja, and Tama. In Sanskrit, it's called Tamash also. So then now why Krishna is starting with such a kind of expression where he's saying that everyone is under the three modes of material nature, because actually that's the truth. Whether any human beings, the animals, all of them are under material modes. Animals are more on tamas because they actually are not very aware of what they're doing. But in case of human, we can see that it can be a mixture of the three modes based upon specific varna that person is entitled to or following or a specific way of working according to his nature. We'll see that later. And even demigods in the higher planetary systems, they're mostly in mode of goodness, but again, they also come under passion sometimes, as we have seen before, like Indra or some other demigods. If you go through Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see how Indra became envious of Prithu Maharaj, and then he wanted to stop his fire sacrifice. He didn't want him to do that 100 fire sacrifices because he was worried about his position. What if Prithu Maharaj becomes the next Indra and he will dethrone me? So that fear is always there, and fear is nothing actually but mode of ignorance working. So even demigods, time to time, they come under passion and ignorance. So each of the modes have their own functions to perform, and they have their own importance. So, and in Varnasrama Dharma, actually, these modes play key roles. So we are not concerned with any Varnasrama system. We are more concerned with the Daivi Varnasrama system, where Krishna is the center, and we want to offer our activities for Krishna. So here Krishna actually gives the hint of the Daivi Varnasrama system, which is focused on serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So now how to get freedom from this reaction, which comes through our occupational duties. So let's see. Let's go to the next verse. Text 41. Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Shudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravihatani Swabhava Prabhavir Gunai. Translation: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras are distinguished by the qualities born of their own nature, in accordance with the material moods, O chastiser of the enemy. So here we can see that the qualities of the four Varnas are described, right? So also we can see that through this verse, we can know that there are four different Varnas in the Varnasrama system, which are the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and then the Shudras. And they can be distinguished actually by the qualities they're born with, and also sometimes with their own nature, right? The way they want to do the work, which are obviously influenced by the material modes. So I was actually kind of just taking help of Subodhini a little bit. So I'll just, so here we see that in the subsequent sections in Subodhini, actually all the qualities are enlisted very nicely of different Varnas, which we'll see when we go through. So let's go back and go through text 42. So Shamadamastapa Shaucham Shantir Arjabam Evacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Sabhavajam. Translation: peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So here we can see the natural qualities of the Brahmanas are mentioned. So this is very important actually if we want to know what kind of probably nature we have. We can actually look at these qualities and see which ones we possess. That's a good way kind of to self-judge. I know sometimes it's probably kind of a mixture, but still it's good to know where we are standing so that we can determine work based upon our nature and our inclination. So But how then a Brahmana can be engaged in the service of the Lord? There are many ways for a Brahmanas to do worship of the Lord, Sri Krishna, and utilizing his occupational duties. What are the occupational duties of a Brahmana? Patan, Patan, Jajan, Jajan. So, Patan, Patan, reading scriptures and teaching scriptures. Jajan, Jajan. So, doing different fire sacrifices, helping to conduct them, and helping others actually to go through these different sacrifices mentioned, especially different Vedas, and then specifically if we consider how to engage directly for Lord Krishna, then comes worshipping the Lord, probably in temple doing deity worship, or at home, then cooking for the Lord, helping with different other services like preaching, giving classes, then helping with directing or like giving good guidance to temple management when required. Now, these are all ways to get involved and engage the Brahminical qualities in service of the Lord and his devotees. So that way we can engage these qualities some of us have in service of the Lord. And if we want to ask for an example of a Brahmana who engaged his Brahminical attributes for the service of the Lord, but there are many examples actually. But what I'm thinking of, how Sudama, the Lord's friend, he actually went above and beyond actually to meet the Lord in Dwarka, and how he always used to think about the Lord. Though they grew up in Gurukul, but then there was a separation period, but he never forget the Lord actually. And when the Lord asked him, when he went to Dwarka to meet the Lord for any boon, he didn't want anything actually. But later, though the Lord fulfilled his need, but the point here is, though he's a Brahmana, he engaged actually his nature and occupational duties for the service of the Lord. So that way, we can see how we can accommodate everything for serving the Lord. So let's go to the next verse, text 43. Swarvam tejo dhritir-dakshram yuddhi chapi apalayanam tanam ishvara bhavascha shatram karma sabhavajam. Translation: heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriya. So we see here some of the qualities which the Kshatriyas possess. And these are important actually for the Kshatriyas to have. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them to do their duties. If, for example, the Kshatriya doesn't have leadership quality, how then they will represent the citizens and they will run the country or help with different activities like fighting for the sake of keeping the country protected, and also they need amazing heroism, right? They need, because they always opt for such quality to be heroic or show heroism, and they need to be very powerful, they have to be determined. At the same time, they have to be generous also. They have to be very generous. Nowadays, we see actually these kind of qualities are not very available actually in the administrators. But previous ages, during like the other yugas, Satya Yuga, then Dapara Yuga, then Treta Yuga, even in Kali Yuga, we had kings and administrative rulers who used to show such extreme, not extreme, I would say, such wonderful qualities as Kshatriyas. So then, an example of a Kshatriya, there are many actually. Arjuna is there in Bhagavad Gita, how he engaged in the battlefield on behalf of Krishna, and he helped the Pandavas. Actually, he was one of the Pandavas, but he helped to fulfill Krishna's mission. He defeated he played a major role in defeating the Kauravas actually, and he did it on Krishna's order, though he didn't want to in the beginning, as you see in the Bhagavad Gita first in Arjuna Vishad Yoga. He was not willing to fight because he was thinking of his relatives and how if he fight, that's gonna create a situation where they will have to enjoy the kingdom, the Pandavas, without some of their relatives like Bhishmadev, who's very dear to them, then Dronacharya. So that way we can see how Arjuna utilized his nature. So anybody else, Anil or Tilokini, can tell of any other Kshatriya who engaged his qualities and occupational duties for the service of the Lord? Any of you can remember, Anil Prabhu or Tilokini? If you're speaking, Anil Prabhu, we cannot hear you.
Other Kshatriyas, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
I don't know if Lord Hanuman qualifies for this example, but during the war, he kind of led the he showed the leadership, right? Leading the army.
You mean during Ram Ravana war?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he did show some prowess of Kshatriya for sure, right? So we can take it on behalf of like the prowess he showed, right? While going to Lanka and then burning the whole Lanka, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
in that situation, maybe just heroism, determination, power, these qualities kind of is it's visible.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. And also apart from that, we can, thank you, Anil Prabhu, for that example. And apart from that, we can see Ambarish Maharaj. He was a Kshatriya, but he used to worship the Lord. And there are stories actually. He married a lady, and that lady actually wanted a temple. I mean, this was, I think, he had, he had many wives actually. During those times, it was allowed to marry more wives. So more than one girl. So, but the point is, his newest wife wanted to have a temple at his wife's place. So he actually built that temple. He actually first he said, that you worship my deities. So then, his wife used to wake up early in the morning and started to do all worships. Like she used to wake up before Brahma Muhurta and then used to start worship. So then Ambarish Maharaj used to, finish his, bathing and other activities. When he used to come, he used to see that already, Mangala Aarati is going on. So he used to be so kind of amazed with his new wife's activity. And then later what happened, he was very happy actually. And then what happened, he started going to his new wife actually, place in the morning. And then, whole day she used to do different services for the Lord. So that way, Amrish Maharaj used to kind of visit more than once at her place. So then what happened? His other wives, they got kind of curious, and they said, we also want temple in our place, because if Maharaj is going to her place regularly, then what will happen if we have temples at our place? So they all requested Amrish Maharaj, we also want temples. So then Amrish Maharaj actually built small temple for each of them. And then what happened, Amrish Maharaj started going to each and every one of his wives, just to take darshan of the deities, and touching the nirmalas. That way, his whole day used to pass like that. So his courtiers became really worried, saying, Maharaj is not coming to court, though he's coming, he's staying only 10-15 minutes. So obviously he had expert ministers who were running the kingdom very nicely, and whenever required, they were getting his advices, and they were gurus, actually, Brahmanas, who were also helping with the administration. It was not like now. They had qualified Brahmanas during those times. Amrish Maharaj, this time, that they used to actually direct the kings and the administrators on how to take care of the citizens, and how to take care of the kingdom. Even not only citizens, actually citizens used to be not only the human beings who are in that kingdom, but also different animals who used to sometimes live in the forests. So that way the kings used to take care of the kingdom. And so then what happened, they said, okay, so let's start building a temple on our place also. So what they did, all the citizens of Amrish Maharaj's kingdom, they started building temples at their places. So that way, because they thought now Amrish Maharaj will come to see us. So it became very difficult for Amrish Maharaj then, like going to all these different places. But what happened, he actually went back to Godhead with all of his citizens and his wives, his family members. And so that's the importance of doing following Varnasrama Dharma, keeping Lord in the center. That way we can achieve our highest destination, which is going back to home, back to God. So let's go to next one, text 44. Krishi Goraksha Manijam Vaishakarma Sabhavajam Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudrashvapi Sabhavajam. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for the Vaishyas, and for the Shudras, there are labor and service to others. So this verse, you see, Krishna summarizes the activities of Vaishyas and Shudras. So for Vaishyas, what are the key functions or key activities they do? Farming. Then cow protection, which has been a major aspect in Vedic civilization, protecting the cows, making sure that the cows are taken care of. Also, cows are not sent in slaughterhouses, so even after the milking period, they stop giving enough milk. These, they used to be treated as family members. And even you can see if in our our situations, even 2-3 generations before, or even few generations before, you can see how cow was like a family member for us. So actually, the different cow protection initiatives has started now. As you can see in ISKCON, actually there are many initiatives. Even in our Pleasanton, we have a Shurabi Goraksha Shvetra, which is started by our Krishna Purushottam Prabhu. So very beautifully actually, and nicely they're taking care of cows and calves there. Definitely a place to visit. If you have not, just go and visit the place. Apart from that, there are different places where cow protection initiatives are happening across the world, especially in ISKCON. We have seen that many initiatives are being taken actually. And then there is business. So business means actually doing any kinds of trades. So then for Shudras, the main activities are what? Labor, giving labor, or Shrama, it's called in Sanskrit, and then giving service to others. So if we consider any Vaishya who achieved success, we can see those who are in Vrindavana, right? All of the cowherd boys, cowherd men, cowherd women in Vrindavan, all of them are Vaishyas. So whatever they used to do, they used to think of Krishna, and then obviously we cannot go into like the level of the Brajabashis, they're in very high level, but at least we can offer our fruits of work to Krishna. If we are doing cow protection, then offering some nice milk to Krishna from the cows. And then also if we are doing business, then offering some Lakshmi for ISKCON or for preaching activities in ISKCON. And in ISKCON center, we can go and donate. In ISB, we have nice Sankirtan festivals going on all through the year. So there's a good place actually to donate and then use and utilize the hard-earned money we are getting for serving the Lord and his devotees. Then we have and for Shudras, we see that for Shudras, there are two activities which are very important. So let's see. So Tilokini or Anil Prabhu, do you name a Shudra who probably so-called, according to Varnasrama system, who perfected his life by serving the Lord and offering his service to the Lord? From Srimad Bhagavatam.
I don't know, Prabhu. Nothing is striking my mind right now.
Okay. How about Tilokini?
I also don't remember, but I can remember, like in our parampara, though Narottam Das Thakur was by born, he was a Brahman and he was in Brahmanical position, but he did some menial service of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Lokanath Das Goswami Maharaj, but I don't remember anything more. So just
Okay, no, that's a good example. Thanks. Yeah, Narottam Das Thakur did really menial service for his guru. Before even he got initiation, he used to clean actually, the place that his guru used to sit and do his, chanting and other devotional activities. He used to clean that place regularly. So that way, Narottam Das Thakur was able to do menial service for his guru, which pleased him, and he got initiated. So in Bhagavatam, we see actually Vidura, he used to be called Dasiputra actually. In a by the Kauravas specifically, Duryodhan, Dusashan, and that was a way to humiliate him actually. They found out. So according to the ashrama system, actually, since Vidura's mother was a Shudra, he was considered as Shudra actually by the then social custom, but that didn't prohibit his devotional activities. He was serving Dhritarashtra and his administration, but at the same time, he was always thinking of Lord Krishna. And that way we see when Krishna came to make peace proposal before the Mahabharata, before the Kurukshetra war, actually Duryodhana offered him a lot of foods and asked him to accept those after, he went to Hastinapur as a messenger for the Pandavas. He didn't propose the peace proposal on the first day, obviously, because when you are going to some place, you are supposed to be welcomed and then you take rest. So that day, when after reaching Hastinapur, Duryodhana offered him palatable dishes. He didn't accept those actually from Duryodhana's house. He said, "You are a dusht." Dusht in Sanskrit means wicked person. So I'm not gonna eat at your place. You are, doing injustice to my dear Pandavas. So I will not eat at your place. So Krishna actually doesn't like his devotees being mistreated, especially cheated, the way Duryodhana cheated, and even Duryodhana tried to kill Bhima and the other Pandavas also when the Jatu Griha, I mean the Laksh, house of Laksh, they say. The house was prepared actually with, I think, some inflammable material, so that when the Pandavas are sleeping in Varnabad, Duryodhana's assistants can, put the house to fire. Duryodhana took various schemes actually to kill the Pandavas or put them in danger or trouble with the help of Shakuni and his assistants. But nothing worked out by Krishna's grace. And then Krishna actually rejected Duryodhana's invitation. And whom he went to? Yes, he went to Vidura's place. And there, Vidura was so elated to see Krishna coming to his house after, and Krishna asked actually Vidura, "So, what did you cook for me?" So then Vidura's wife brought all the nice dishes that she very lovingly prepared. So that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Patram pushpam phalam tayam yame bhakta prayarchati." So he doesn't ask for a lot. He just asks, give me a simple flower, some fruits. Patra means give some, green leafy, some leafy vegetables and some water. Then he's pleased. That's why he was so pleased when Vidura's wife was so much in ecstasy. She was giving banana peels rather than giving the banana. She was keeping the banana. She was actually taking out the banana. She was throwing the banana and she was giving Krishna the banana peels. And Krishna was eating those banana peels in so much ecstasy. Why? Because there was love. Why he went to Vidura's place? Because there was love. And that is success for Vidura. So that way.
I remember one more example.
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm not sure whether Kubja was Shudrani or not, but that name came into my mind.
Yeah, she was because she was kind of doing. I think she was helping. She was giving Kamsa some nice, sands and
sandalwood paste
and all. Right. So she, but yeah, Kubja. So she actually, when Krishna asked her to provide this, materials to him, she at once agreed, and then she said, "You are the most eligible person actually to use this things, especially this sandalwood paste and whatever paraphernalia I used to decorate it." And that way Kubja got actually benefited beyond her imagination. From a deformed body, she was made like an apsara by Krishna. And then Krishna visited her house also and fulfilled her desire. So that way Kupcha utilized her service, which was not like very great service during that time, serving kamsa, and in a way that just providing some ornamental elements for him, some menial service, right? But she utilized those for Krishna, and she became glorious. She got her name in Bhagavatam. So ages after ages, people will read and devotees will read about Kupcha. That kind of merit she accrued. Okay, so thank you. So we'll go to the next verse, which is text 45. Shve shve karmani abhirvata samsiddhim labate nara swakarma nirata siddhim yatha vindati tachrinu. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. So Krishna will tell us now how to become perfect just by following the duties that we need to do. So it's a great art, actually. Whatever varna or ashrama we are in, how to do our prescribed duties to satisfy Krishna and thinking Krishna in mind. It's a great art. So now the Lord is going to tell Arjuna about this. Yatha prabrittir bhutanam yana sharvam idam tatam sakarmanatam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So, here we see that we can become perfect by doing our duties, if we do it for Lord's pleasure, whatever varna, whatever ashrama we are in. So here, if we look at the purport, Prabhupada mentions actually about how, whatever work we are doing, though they are affected by the modes of material nature, we can turn them actually to bhakti through following the process of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Here, few points I'd like to mention about the purport. One is how the Supreme Lord is the beginning of all living entities. So Prabhupada mentioned about Bhagavad Gita 15.7 verse, where it says the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. Then he mentioned about the Vedanta Sutra Amadiyashrayataha. So to mention the Supreme Lord is the source of all the living entities. Then we can see in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, the Lord is mentioning how he's pervading by his internal and external energies. It's all pervading. So what happens if we know about the Lord as a source? We start worshiping him. Because what happens if we know that the Lord is the source of everything, then whom we worship? Obviously the Lord. So we worship the Lord with his energies, both especially internal energies, the devotees worship the Lord with. And we know who is the chief internal energy, Srimati Radharani. So, so external energy, what about that, right? So for external energy, it's considered a perverted reflection of the internal energy. So though it is like a background, this external energy, but then the Supreme Lord, with this expansion of Paramatma, he is actually situated everywhere. Consider it demigods, consider it human beings, consider it animals, he's there as Paramatma. So that's why that it is recommended actually in the purport that, and by the Lord, that do all the duties as a service to the Lord. So our senses should be engaged in the service of the Lord, Rishikesha. And then he's called Rishikesha because he's the master, right, of all senses. And then how the Lord reciprocates with such service. So he actually takes charge of such a devotee. If we see here, it says, Tesham aham samudhar. So he takes charge for delivering such a devotee. And Prabhupada mentions this as highest perfection of life in Spirit. So that's why whatever occupation we are engaged, if we serve the Lord, and just by that, we'll achieve the highest perfection. So, let's see if I'm missing something. So one other thing, Krishna actually mentions, right, about karma and how, like, if you do detached work, that frees us actually from the material bondage. So now we can see that Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, he actually says that worshipping Krishna by one's prescribed work, offering it to the Lord, while thinking within one's mind. I mean, when we are doing anything, we should, offer our prescribed work or do our prescribed work in such a way that somehow or other we worship Krishna. And then we offer the results to him. And then, we can think like that, maybe the Lord pleased by this work. If we work with such a mentality, then Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that we attain perfection of real knowledge. And then subsequently, we can see Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is, showing us actually the way. Previous acharyas, they actually show us the way how to pray. So he's saying that when you do anything, we can pray that may my Lord be pleased by this work. That's it. Not very difficult, but the difficult thing is to remember this. So let's go to the next verse, 47. How are you doing at the time? Okay, I think we are good. Just give me a minute. I'm just trying to find the notes. Okay. Now, if we look at verse 47, what it is saying. Sreyansh pradharma biguna paradharma svanustvitat svabhaniyatam karma kurvan apnoti kilbisham. Translation. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. So here we see that, obviously, for example, medicine prescription. Somebody is prescribed a medicine, right? I cannot expect that by taking someone else's prescribed medicine, I'll be cured, right? It's not possible. I'll have to take the medicine which is prescribed for me. The Varnasrama Dharma is also like that. So we should stick actually to our own prescribed duties, which probably are suitable for our nature and our ashrama. And we shouldn't try to imitate somebody else and, take somebody else's duties. So if we do like that, then what will happen? If we do such prescribed duties according to our nature, we will not be affected by sinful reactions because we are going to offer everything to Krishna, whatever we are doing. So if we see something I wanted to bring up in Subodhini, which I found very nice regarding this. So if we see that, okay, I'll talk about it a little later. So if we see that the basis of prescribing vocational duties for these different four Varnas, the basis is the mode of nature. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. Also, different, occupational duties involve some, abominable natures actually. For example, Brahmanas. When Brahmanas used to do fire sacrifice before, now we kind of don't have such qualified Brahmanas. Actually, not even, it's not about qualification. In Kali Yuga, actually, all other sacrifices are prohibited except the Sankirtan sacrifice, which is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we see, but in previous ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dapar Yuga, Brahmanas used to do sacrifices even in the beginning of Kali Yuga. Brahmanas used to do different sacrifices where they had to sacrifice animals. So by that sacrifice, they used to incur, some kind of abominable activities, right? I would say. I don't say about incurring sin, but it was kind of abominable, right? They're killing some animals, but then they used to actually, through the power of mantra, it is said, they used to revive those animals. So they used to sacrifice those animals, and again, through the power of the mantra, those animals used to get a new body, new disease-free body. And that way they used to test actually the, effectiveness of the sacrifice. So, but again, if we see in kind of general sense, it's not considered a very great thing, sacrificing animals, right? Similarly, Kshatriyas, they have to be sometimes violent, right? When they're killing enemies in the battlefield, they cannot say, oh, I'm feeling compassionate, I should leave this enemy, because if he's doing that, then the enemy is going to kill him, the opponent. Kshatriyas have to be, have to have a hard, I would say, not hard heart, I would say, but they have to be really courageous to kill the enemies as required. Because, Kshatriyas, they are supposed to punish the miscreants in the battlefield. And if they're not killing in some cases, killing is required actually to punish. Because if they're not punishing those miscreants by killing, then what will happen? Those miscreants, they will have to suffer their reactions. But if they're killed, then what happens? They get another chance to get a new body and then again start a new life. And also killing enemies, we can see that is required because it is considered, in the battlefield when Dharma Yuddha, like Kurukshetra was a Dharma Yuddha, right? So when both parties fought, actually it was kind of a win-win situation, because if Pandavas they won, they will enjoy the kingdom. And if they lose and die in the battlefield, they will achieve higher planets. And especially not only Pandavas, I would say those in general, Pandavas are devotees of the Lord. They will achieve at the abode of the Lord. But those who are probably not devotees in the battlefield or just taking side of one party, they will achieve heavenly planets if they lose and die. So that way, dying in the battlefield was considered a glorious activity for the Kshatriyas. So then Vaishyas, we see sometimes they have to tell lies, right? While doing business, you cannot be 100% honest. If you are 100% honest when doing any business and you're telling your customers exactly how much profit you're making, they're not going to come to a place. So some lies required. Like, for example, in Shudras, the Prabhupada mentioned the quality which makes it abominable for the Shudras is serving a bad master. Many of us are serving, right, bad bosses, or at least we are serving people whom we don't want to serve, but because of our nature we are forced to serve them. So But even after all these defects, if we engage our services for the Lord, then those defects will be nullified and we will not be responsible for the reactions. It's wonderful, right? So then, so that's why Krishna says, Prabhupada also says in the purport, not working is not an option. We'll have to work. It's our nature. He was saying to Arjuna, if you go to forest, but then again you will come back to fight, because that's your nature. As a Kshatriya, you're habituated to fight. So that way he was kind of chastising Arjuna when he was planning to leave the battlefield. So we can see that we should be engaged according to the particular mode of nature that we have acquired in the service of the Lord by doing our occupational duties. At the same time, we should only work to serve the Lord. That's the lesson from this verse. Then last verse, text number 48. Shahajam karma kamteya sadusham apina tajat sarvaramba hidosena dhumena gnir ivabrita. Every endeavor is covered by some fall, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So here we see Krishna is emphasizing to stick to our occupational duties, even if we feel like, it's defective, what we're doing, or difficult. If we are not liking the work, that's a different thing, but then we'll have to find something which suits our nature. So that's why this is very important to understand what is our nature and how to engage that nature for finding suitable prescribed duties. And actually, I was hearing a podcast between Chaitanya Prabhu and one monk. I'm not remembering the name of the monk. I think it's Kamal. Tilokani, do you remember the name of the monk who was prescribing taking?
Kamal Lochan.
Yes. Yeah, Kamal Lochan Prabhu. So he was telling, if required, then take external help, take help from mentors, even take, help from an astrologer to find out what is your nature and what kind of work is suitable for you. Or so that way we see, even in doing any service, sometimes, we see we are not liking the service we are doing in temple. So then we'll have to figure out that what, if I'm not liking this service, what is the reason? And then what type of service should I do then? This is some self-introspection we should do. And Kamalachan Prabhu was mentioning, actually, the Varnasrama system, it doesn't mean that, we'll have to go to some village and we'll have to, stay there according to Varnasrama. It's not like that. Even within a temple congregation, we have the Deva Varnasrama system. We can implement it based upon the nature of the devotee. The works can be assigned or services can be assigned to them. And they can also take up services which they're comfortable doing. And especially, I have seen, like, in the beginning stages, it has some importance, which is at least taking, maybe we are doing different services, that is fine. But some services, like one or two services, we should, take those which we really want to do, which gives us fulfillment, which gives us inspiration, encouragement. It is required. Obviously, we'll have to take many other services as per the requirement of the temple and the congregation and the priority of the services. But then it's important to at least have one or two services which we really love to do, which we cherish and which nourishes us. And yeah, ideally, Prabhupada also mentioned, actually 50% of his work is done. Another 50%, he said, is not done, which is establishing the Varnasrama system. He actually initiated the Varnasrama system, but then he actually wanted this work to go on, like within the temple congregations, then creating then within the temple congregation, implementing the Varnasrama principles, and then having some nice farm communities. Like we see there is a New Vrindavan, then in Chowpatty we have the Govardhaniko village. There are different farm communities which are coming up now all over the world by the sincere endeavor of the devotees. And also even within every small temple, we can have actually such Varnashram, Daiva Varnashram system by taking into consideration these different aspects of nature of the devotee, of inclination of the devotee, and it goes both ways actually. So that way Varnashram system can be established actually all over the Vaishnava communities. And so we see that here an analogy is given, which is what? Fire, we see fire is covered by smoke, right? Same way, whatever activities we do, they are also covered by some faults, because these three modes of material nature, they will actually, they do induce us actually to do some faulty things sometimes. And because it's a mix again, nobody is like in perfect Sattva-guna. Obviously some are, but I'm talking in general, it's a mixture of modes that works within us. And that's why these faults come. So that's why, whatever Varna we are, we can actually achieve perfect self-realization if we are keeping Krishna in the center, we are offering some of our hard-earned, probably Lakshmi, or some other, we were serving the Lord, we are offering the Lord, we are remembering the Lord, any work we are doing, we are thinking, Lord, may I do it for your service, for your satisfaction. So that way, by doing the work, it gets purified actually when it is connected to devotional service. And that way we become perfect in the self. And that is called self-realization. Prabhupada mentions it in the purport. If you see, when the results of work are purified, when connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within. And that is self-realization. So, let me see if something, yeah, I'd like to discuss a little bit more on this before we take few questions. So here, see, Baladev Dabshan, he comments that Krishna confirms that, all these prescribed duties, like not only the work of Kshatriya, they contain faults, right? Or smoke. Even the Brahmanas work we have discussed, there are some defects which comes. But the way to cleanse this faulty part, is to, offer it, for the Supreme Lord. And, to be self-realized, we should give careful attention, to this part of the duty, which rises to the knowledge of the Lord. So that's why, rather than renouncing our own natures and work which is suitable for our own nature, we should worship the Lord through this work. And if we do it with detachment and devotion, and we don't renounce the activity, that way, this defective nature, our will be able to will nullify these defects which are inherent in the work. So with that, I will end, and I will see if there are any questions, comments, reflections. I will monitor. Actually, I will start with Tilokini. I think Tilokini is only there. Okay. Let's see if anyone has any questions. Please, you can unmute and ask, or you can share your realizations, or you can post in YouTube or Facebook. I will check if there is anything.
There is no comment in YouTube. I checked.
Yeah, thank you, Tilokini, for the information. Okay, so we don't have any comment, question, or reflection, which is good. So yeah, I hope everyone have a nice Kartik. Hope we are all doubling up our devotional service, because it's mentioned in the scriptures that we get 100 times more benefit during Kartika. So these are some, actually Kartik month is the mercy month of the Lord. Everything is on discount, as my Guru Maharaj says. So we should, take advantage of this opportunity we have available and get more involved in chanting, hearing about the Lord, doing more services, and that way we'll be able to make the best use of the time. So thank you everyone for listening, and wish you all a happy Kartik. And we have classes on Saturday morning and also on Sunday evening. You're welcome to join. Take care, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Aniruddh, Nitai, Chand.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your encouragement. You're always very encouraging.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll end the call. We'll end the session. Sorry.